for more on the story, we can go now to New York, where Jacques Astre joins us. He's the president of the International Aviation Safety Solutions. Thank you so much for your time. Have you seen footage of the landing, of the hard landing, and can you share any insights?
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Yes, I did see the footage. What I did not see was when the airplane actually landed, if it was on fire or not, but now reports are indicating the fire started prior to the landing. So I can only go by what I saw in the video. But if in fact the fire did start in flight, fires and being out of fuel are two of the most serious problems a flight crew can have. So when you have a fire, and of course you've got a lot of fuel, which builds a fire. So they were in a very serious situation. I was told, I've read so far in the reports that there was no communication between the tower and the flight crew, but that doesn't necessarily mean they couldn't communicate. It might mean that they were so busy that they had no time to communicate. So that's a separate issue that'll be investigated. As to what started the fire, while everything is always possible, but generally speaking, airplanes are designed to absorb lightning strikes. Lightning strikes typically do not cause damage to the extent that you can lose an aircraft. Now, again, the airplanes are designed to withstand that. Is it possible that a catastrophe could result? It's possible, but unlikely. So that too needs to be investigated.
Can you talk me through, if there is a fire on board a plane? I mean, how easy is that to deal with, or is it sort of as soon as there is a fire on the plane, it's very, very likely that the fuel source is going to also catch on fire?
It depends on the type of emergency that you have. For example, if you have an in-flight fire caused by a fire of an engine, that an engine actually ignites into flames for whatever reason, there's systems that turn off fuel to that engine immediately so that you basically prevent a fire from progressing through the fuel lines to the fuel tanks. So that's one possibility. The other possibility, of course, is a broken fuel line, which might deposit fuel in certain areas that the airplane was never designed for and nor designed to withstand. So that's a possibility as well. However, it's typically the way fuel systems are designed and fuel lines are designed. They're designed so that such a thing doesn't happen. Now, in terms of having an in-flight fire with an engine is concerned, there are procedures and systems in the cockpit that the pilots use, and they basically cut off anything that's flammable, hydraulic fluids, fuels, anything, and including electrical. It turns off the electrical systems to avoid ignition of a fire in case a fuel leak does develop. So there are many systems in place to prevent fires, and it becomes essentially an emergency, but an emergency that's completely under control. There are other types of fires that could develop, which quickly get out of control.
Can we talk a little bit about this type of aircraft, a Sukhoi SSJ-100 regional jet? What more can you tell us about this type of aircraft? Has it had a history of any problems like this?
No. In fact, this airplane's been in service for a while, I believe since 2008. And I know that the airplane's been used by several carriers in that part of the world. And it has had a fairly successful record. So this type of thing seems unique to this situation. I don't know of any. I looked up the history on the airplane, and I don't see anything that's comparable to what happened today.
Thank you for that. Great to have you on the program. That is Jacques Astre from New York, the president of the International Aviation Safety Solutions.